might definitely be impacting you.
Is this thing on? All right.
Good?
Yeah. This is weird. It looks like our presentation's taking a long time to load.
What's going on here?
It's totally frozen.
Do you have it?
You know,
on,
I actually have it
backup?
on my phone. If you want, we can Apple.
Can we switch
AirPlay
it to Apple TV?
Yeah, here.
There we go.
Yeah, let me select that.
Oh, crap.
Of course, another hourglass waiting again.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't even read it. Let me try to see if I can pinch in and zoom in a little bit here.
There you go. Looks good.
So have you ever been part of a presentation that started off with some video glitches or something? It's kind of slow, it's kind of awkward, it puts you off on the wrong foot. If you're on your phone and you're going to a website that's not mobile friendly, this is a lot of the experience that you're going to get. And this week, Google has weighed in on what they think about that with their latest algorithm updates.
So don't worry, John and I actually optimized our presentation for a 16:9 view, so the rest of our presentation shouldn't be as painful as the beginning. But yeah, John and I are here today to talk about the new algorithm change that Google just released 2 days ago. Some people are calling it the mobile-friendly update. Others are calling it mobile-geddon. And really, it's set to amplify visibility for mobile-friendly websites. And by mobile-friendly websites, we mean sites that are responsive or adaptive or maybe even a separate mobile website. And with this launch, it's really just the beginning of Google's journey to help improve mobile user experience on the web. Their goal is to make sure people can access content, the content they need from any device they're on. And when they release an update like this, they never set it and forget it. They're always working to improve it, enhance it, so they can have better results in the future. And case in point with their Penguin algorithm, this is launched a few years ago. They're already on the 3rd iteration of it. And with Panda, they're on the 4th iteration. And even to get to this point, there were 27 individual updates just to get to this point for Panda. So one thing's for sure is with the launch of this is really just the beginning of Google trying to improve mobile user experience across the web. And as we should expect to see a lot of updates along the way. And as we see that, we're going to see a lot of change in visibility in our own industries and maybe even on our own websites. And it's going to affect our outcomes too. So John and I are going to cover the facts about the update, how it might impact your business, and some actionable next steps, whether you already have a mobile optimized experience or not. So Google's been planning this update now for quite a while. And they've been sending us signals that a big change has been coming. First, at the end of last year, in November, they added the mobile-friendly tag to search results. Those URLs that lead to a mobile-friendly experience get this label. Those that don't. And what they're really trying to do is just set expectations for people. User, before you click, just know what kind of experience you're about to get into. Then they started testing a slow label in search results. Again, trying to set expectations for people. User, before you click, just know that this URL is going to load slower than other URLs in our search results. This one is in beta right now and hasn't been released, but if it does, it'll have a significant negative impact on click-through rates. Then they started sending us messages in Webmaster Tools telling us that we need to work on the mobile usability of our website. So these were all just really strong hints of Google telling us that something big is coming and that something big happened 2 days ago. And a lot of the analysts out there are projecting that this could be the most impactful update that Google's ever had. And the reason that they're saying this is because 50% of all search results right now happen on mobile devices. So when you're thinking about an algorithm change that could impact half of all Google search results, you can imagine the impact it could have on a lot of businesses.
So we reached out to Google and we asked for some current stats on your industries to see how mobile search is being used in B2C and B2B in different ways. And Max, who was here earlier, came through and got us some current stats. start with real estate, but something you can look at on this chart is the big green number in the middle. That's mobile device searches. That's not even tablet. That's the little gray number here. But that's current numbers from Google as of the end of 2014. And below the graph is an equally important number of the year-over-year growth that we're seeing in mobile device searches. So these are pretty powerful numbers. We can see the theme coming through in real estate, and if you carry that out another year, there could be more searches being done on phones than there are on desktop and tablet combined. So this is a pretty big deal. The travel industry carries through the same theme. As in B2C, we see through household consumer packaged goods and healthcare as well. Now, the one outlier in healthcare is health insurance, and where it's closer to a quarter of searches as opposed to the 40 to 50% range. But we believe that's going to continue to grow as well, especially as consumers get more involved with their health insurance. And it's still sizable at that percentage. It's a little bit of a drop when we get into B2B. We're seeing a little over a third of the searches being done on phones. And again, going into some other specifics, industries, chemical adhesives, it's almost a third. And electronic components, it's almost a quarter, but growing at over 50% year over year.
So some basic facts about the update. We just wanted to cover some of the facts so you guys feel knowledgeable when you're going back with your teams. The most basic fact is that URLs that have the mobile-friendly label will see an increase in visibility in search. Those that don't should see a significant decrease in visibility. It affects mobile search results and mobile search results only, so it doesn't affect your visibility in tablets, nor does it affect it in desktops. It affects the 10 traditional blue links in a search result. It doesn't impact the local pack or local business listings or other universal searches like news or images and things like that. A few other important takeaways. One, so the algorithm was confirmed. It did launch a couple days ago. People aren't seeing dramatic shifts yet because the algorithm is going to be rolling out for over a week. It's going to take a long time for Google to process this change through all their URLs. And so expect to see a lot of fluctuation starting sometimes next week. It's rolling out across the world in all languages. So those of you who have international brands, this will impact everything. It's also important to note that the mobile-friendly label is placed at the URL level, not your entire site. So you may have a website that's fully responsive design. Just know that there could be a few pages within the structure that may not have the mobile-friendly tag. And lastly, we think it's really interesting to note, Google came out to say that they have been working on creating a mobile dedicated index. And what that means is they've been working to separate their mobile index from their desktop index. And that shows us that they have high intent to, in the future, make their mobile ranking factors even more different than their desktop. So a change that we might see could be something like if page speed is more important on a mobile device than it is on a desktop, maybe that as a ranking factor in a mobile experience could actually be increased. So expect to see a lot of changes along the way. Then Google came out and told us that this impact will be bigger than both Panda and Penguin was. And when you look back to last year, that's a big statement. eBay lost 80% of their visibility from the Panda update last year, and their CFO estimated that this loss in organic traffic cost the brand $200 million by the end of the year. So when you're thinking about an impact that's going to be more impactful than Panda, you can only imagine what it could do for a lot of businesses. So we can't overemphasize this enough. Those that don't have a mobile-friendly website right now, this could be very impactful to your brand. So how do you know if you're at risk? I think a lot of us already know whether we have a mobile-friendly experience or not, but you're going to want to check to see what Google thinks about it. And the easiest thing to do is open up your phone and Google, do a search for site : and your domain name. It'll give a list of all the URLs of your website. See if the mobile-friendly tag is there. Keep scrolling. See if there's any really important pages that don't have it. You'll want to identify those and try to work out the bugs. You're also going to want to do do a search for your most popular brand search term and see what your search result looks like. This is something that Tide should have done. It's hard to read from where you're at right now, but Tide's description under their main listing says, this description is not available because it's been blocked by a robots.txt file. And what this means is that Tide just made a really bonehead mistake, accidentally blocked Google from crawling this page, and now they can't. The worst thing about it for them is that they actually have a responsive website, and because Google can't crawl this URL, they can't get the mobile-friendly tag, and therefore they don't understand that it's mobile-friendly. But we're not going to tell Tide about this, right? Because we're all Persil fans, right? Okay. All right. You're also going to want to see if you're at risk for the slow tag. This is still in beta again, and Google hasn't come out to say what exact factors go into us delivering the slow label or not. But Google does make a page speed test. You can put any URL in it from your website. It'll give a score. From a really high level, it's giving you a green for fast, yellow for moderate, and a red exclamation mark for something on the slower side. It's hard to say in what scale of that slower slide they'll actually give this slow label, but we would project that we would try to get out of that red exclamation mark and try to start improving your speed to get out of that zone. And really the best way to know if you've been affected is to dive into your analytics, see if your visibility in mobile organic has changed, see if your traffic has, and your conversions. And if you guys are wondering or having a hard time knowing if your brand is at risk of getting visibility, we'd be happy to help. So just please ask.
So let's talk a little bit about what you can do about it. And we'll talk about it from a couple points of view. One, if you don't have a mobile-friendly experience already, and one, if you do. A study this month showed that 40% of the top web properties still don't have a mobile-friendly experience. That was a little surprising to me. And then we did a quick survey of the group in the room, and we found about a third of the main web properties represented here don't have a mobile-friendly presence. So it is still something that you need to be thinking about. Hopefully the stats we're showing of the importance of the rise in mobile search will help build that business case. But if you don't have a mobile website already, be thinking about it. We're still proponents of going with the responsive design where you have one set of content that gets rolled out to all devices and is very fluid. But the key is don't come in with a small subset of the content for your mobile site and make it a separate standalone thing. You want people searching all sorts of ways from mobile these days, and you want to make all your content available to them. And just trying to look back at those other industry numbers, and we'll just take a generic B2B case where let's say we have a lead generation site and we're generating 1,000 leads a month, but we know it's desktop geared and it's horrible at converting for mobile. With 37% of search coming in through mobile, there's a lot of leads you could be leaving on the table there, potentially hundreds. And once you start putting a value number on those leads, that can get into some real money that you're leaving out on the table. So going beyond just having a mobile-friendly presence, where do you go next? And this is important for mobile, it's important for desktop, but there's a lot of value to having a fast-performing site. We've seen the signals from Google. We know that, at least in beta right now, the red flag of your site is slow could stop clicks and could really reduce your conversions. So we need to listen to that signal and get ahead of that so that our sites are faster if that does ever come out of beta and become reality. If you're just starting your website project, there's a lot of things you can do up front to plan the right technology and infrastructure in to have a fast website. But there's still a lot of things that you can do once your website's built. And these are just a few statistics showing that it's a very consistent story when you look out there and start doing research on how important this is to conversion, regardless of what Google thinks. By having a fast-performing website, you're going to prevent bounces. You're going to increase your conversions. Every second that it takes extra for a page to load, you're potentially losing 7% of your conversions. There's a couple studies that have stats in this neighborhood. And one of the Amazon engineers that helped build their recommendation engine out stated that for every 1/10 of a second it takes Amazon to load a page, they're losing 1% of their sales. So for them, that's big money. Even going back to that case where we're talking about 1,000 leads, and you have an average performing site, if you can shave a second or two off page load, and you can get yourself another 100, 200 leads a month, it's a big deal. So how do you do it? How do you move the needle? There's a lot of techniques, even if you have an existing site that are short of rebuilding your whole infrastructure, and work with your technical teams, work with your web developers. They'll be able to help you out with a lot of good ideas here. There's a lot more than the ones listed on this slide, but a few obvious ones: common sense, don't send giant images down to people if they don't need it, especially on mobile. It's just going to slow things down. Use CDNs, content delivery networks. If you've got West Coast servers and you have customers on the East Coast, there's no use sending those files all the way across the country. This is an example that I like. It's just one small technique, but picture somebody taking a bunch of marbles and rolling them across the floor to you, and the effort it would take to kind of gather those up and pick them up. Then picture somebody putting those same marbles into a bag and just tossing you the bag of marbles, and the difference in the effort of grabbing that bag of marbles and catching it. So that's a very close analogy to what websites do when they're loading files. JavaScript libraries on modern websites, you're going to find tons of them. Some sites will have a dozen, 15, 20. A lot of times those are served all as individual files that the browsers are having to request and get from the server. There's ways you can bundle those together and just make it one request and one file served. Similarly with CSS and to some degree with images with some spriting techniques. There's a lot of very cool things you can do with existing sites to optimize them and to get them faster. So that's a little bit on speed. I think falling into the same line of a good mobile experience is good for you, and Google's going to reward or penalize you based on the experience you give, is the idea of Google continuing to use more behavioral data moving forward. So what we mean when we say behavioral data is Google has a good understanding of how we navigate the web. They see what we do in search. They see what we do in Chrome in the browser level. And for many sites, they see what we do on the site because of our Google Analytics presence that we're using. They know when we're delivering something good to someone and when we're not. We believe, and a lot of the big SEO gurus out there believe, that this is going to influence rankings more and more in the upcoming months and years. One example of this, as you can see, it was all kind of fuzzy on the side, but just a typical Google search results list. If you click through a search result, go to visit a site, and immediately you're back on Google at the search results again and clicking another site, that's sending a signal to Google. It's saying, hey, I didn't get what I wanted out of this site. Maybe it was too slow to load. Maybe you just saw that it wasn't the right thing for you. That's a picture that Google can assemble. If that happens repeatedly on your search results, they can factor that into your rankings. And some tests from SEO are showing that they're already doing it, but we believe that's going to increase. So how to combat that is make sure your content aligns with what your customers want. It's all about user experience. Give them a fast experience, give them a mobile-friendly experience, and just give them an easy site to navigate, and you'll be able to stay ahead of Google on some of this as those penalties kind of grow over time, and rewards. And last point on things for you to just know about and be familiar with is you'll start seeing a lot more of these card-style rankings where there's some things in bold on the search results. Maybe you see the social icons underneath. I just want you to know where all that information is coming from, and you have the ability to impact some of that. Some of the things like the top sections, like the ticker symbols and stuff, are coming from third-party databases like Freebase and Wikipedia. So those you can monitor and you can potentially alter, but not directly by working with Google. Other ones like the social icons that show up are things you can impact by tagging your site in certain ways on your page to declare to Google, this is our main Facebook property, and then Google can show that on this card-style interfaces that people reach.
So in summary, what Google is really telling us is that they want us to create consistent experiences across all relevant devices. And today they're saying that mobile is relevant, but tomorrow it could be smart TVs. And by the end of the year, or now, it could also be virtual reality with Google Cardboard. But tomorrow, the Apple Watch comes out, and could this be the design that sets wearables into the mainstream? It's hard to say. But we thought it'd be interesting to show you guys. There's a lot of really relevant apps that are already created for the Apple Watch upon launch. There's a CRM app for Salesforce. Redfin has a real estate app for people wanting to look at listings on the go. Even Mayo Clinic has an app just for their doctors, and it helps their doctors manage their days more easily. It even sends them an alert on their watch when a patient is in the waiting room, which is really cool. Travel has 4 different apps. One of them for SPG resorts and hotels, you can actually use your watch as a key entry to your room. And of course, Google is in the process of creating their app for the watch as well. So search will definitely have an impact and an influence on that device. But who really knows where this is going to go and what device usage is really going to be the most popular? And we're definitely not suggesting that you go ahead and create a unique experience for every device that ever comes out. But what we are saying, we are asking you guys is to really try to monitor user usage data with devices and really try to understand how your users are trying to engage with your brand on these devices. And if you're doing that, you'll be creating good experiences and you'll be ahead of the next Google algorithm change too.
So to summarize it, go back, check your sites, not just the home page, but go through quite a few of your important pages. Make sure that you're showing up as mobile friendly. If you haven't invested in a mobile friendly or responsive site, build that business case. It's becoming more and more important. Optimize for speed. Stay ahead of the next Google update that may be penalizing slow sites or flagging slow sites if that comes out of beta. Just use good user experience. It's good for your users anyway, and it's going to be increasingly important to Google. And plan for the future with those future devices. If you're starting a new project, there's some things you can do with your content management system to be ready to cater content to those devices. And there's some really cool tricks we can help you with too if you ever have any questions about that. So thanks for all your attention today. And if you have any questions for Chris or I, you can catch up with us. We'll be around at happy hour tonight. Thanks.
Thank you.